I've never seen such a sick experiment. Putting people in kennels and feeding them. A collar was placed around the neck and a chain was attached to the other end. If they wanted to go to the bathroom, they had to do it in a pit. When they were hungry, they had to eat unpalatable dog food. Lisa would rather starve to death than eat dog food for the first 2 days of her incarceration. The dog food was poured all over the floor. Until the 3rd day, she finally couldn't take it anymore. The masked man deliberately made things difficult for her by placing the food bowl far away. Lisa reached for it with all her might, but she was still a little short. She changed her position and continued, but still couldn't. She had no choice but to stretch out a long leg, and finally she could barely reach it. Once she got the dog food, she ate it with her hands like crazy, as if she was eating something delicious. But just as she was devouring it, a man's voice suddenly sounded. The woman suddenly realized that there was someone else, so she started banging on the wall like crazy. But the next second she actually dizzy and fainted. However, all these actions were recorded by the security camera at the other end. When Lisa opened her eyes again, she heard the man's voice again. She poked her head out to see. On the other side of the kennel, there was a man on a leash. The man said his name was Adam and that he was also kidnapped by the masked man. While they were talking, the masked man brought more food. By now, Lisa had completely lost her dignity. She picks up her plate and eats with ease. But Adam felt that the food was not simple. He had to stay awake to get out. Hearing this, the masked man outside the door was furious. He rushed through the door to teach Adam a lesson. Lisa said something to discourage him and was tasered on the spot. Adam was even beaten up. When they woke up again, they found they had been moved. They were closer to each other. Lisa advised Adam to eat enough to have the strength to escape. Adam decided to compromise for now. But as he ate, he suddenly felt that the dog food didn't seem so bad after all. The more they ate, the happier they became, and they actually dreamed of delightful images. 1 minute a woman is intimate with a handsome man. The next moment she woke up from the darkness of the kennel and was frozen. It turns out she was just dreaming. She was still wearing a leash and eating dog food. But fortunately, she had the company of her cellmate Adam. Now that the man and woman are alone in the same room, the atmosphere becomes a little warm. Suddenly, the masked man roared from outside the door. Adam was so scared that he immediately cowered in the corner. But Lisa didn't care. And the next moment she was punished. When she opened her eyes again, the masked man came to bring food. Adam pretended to sleep, then grabbed the stick. And so the key was in hand. Adam rushed to untie their necklaces.
Trust me. This was my plan.
But no one expected that at the moment Adam turned around.
Mayday, pineapple pizza!
It turns out that Lisa and the masked man are in cahoots. To be more precise, she was the real mastermind. She joined George and Erica to initiate the sick experiment, feeding humans like dogs. Observe their behavioral changes. To make the experiment more realistic, Lisa even did it herself. She became suspicious of George, asking him if he had added psychotropic drugs to the dog food. But George said the food was normal dog food with no other additions. As for Lisa's hallucinations, it was probably caused by malnutrition and dehydration. After everything was back to normal, they returned Adam to the kennel. Lisa took a sip of water and sprayed it on Adam, who was a wall away. That woke Adam up. Adam said he had the key and had a chance to get out. Lisa interrupts Adam and says that everything that just happened was a hallucination. Adam was momentarily disappointed. But it wasn't long before. After being locked up for half a month, Adam and Lisa were given a chance to let off steam. They slowly approached the barbed wire fence. They climbed outside when no one was looking, but they were still discovered. As the collars around their necks tightened, they fell to the ground in pain and were caught by George. Each was given a shot. On the other hand, Erica noticed that the camera suddenly lost its signal and became suspicious of George. She immediately reported to the teacher and asked to abort the experiment. However, after only a few minutes, the teacher disappeared as well. When Erica finally found the teacher had already been put in the freezer and frozen into a hard corpse. And Erica couldn't escape George's plan either. She was given a shot of ecstasy by George. When she opened her eyes again, she was locked up with Adam. Seeing the situation is not good, Erica confesses the truth. It turns out that Adam's capture was all Lisa's plan. A year ago, Lisa fell in love with Adam at first sight, taking the opportunity of this experiment. She wanted to lock up with Adam and develop a relationship, but apparently the plan went out of control, because no one expected that there was a pervert George hidden among them. He forced Lisa to make a choice. Only one of Adam and Erica can survive. Lisa didn't hesitate and started complaining that Erica had told Adam the secret, and then decisively pressed Erica's button. The next moment the collar around Adam's neck moved. George played a dirty trick and tricked Lisa. Seeing that Adam was dead, Lisa was furious. She pressed her own switch. Now George was anxious. Just as George unlocked the collar, Lisa raised her hand and punched George. Then she took Erica and ran out. In a panic, Lisa accidentally ran into a dead end. George was closing in on her. In the nick of time, Erica made her move. They put the leash around George's neck and flicked the switch to end his life. Just as Erica was about to express her feelings, Lisa silently grabbed the iron bar. Even though Erica had saved her life, she still held a grudge. More importantly, she needed someone to take the blame for her. And she needs to start a new life as Erica.